Hello there everybody, and welcome to this feature presentation on YouTube. I am King Mac, your hamburger pal. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to enjoy a hot fresh cheeseburger along with some delicious golden french fries, a tasty milkshake, and a nice soft drink. Also be sure to grab some hot buttery popcorn while you're at it as you enjoy this episode of TTBurger Game Reviews on YouTube.
Welcome back, my friends! You are watching TTBurger Game Reviews here on YouTube. We are back with episode 261 of my TTBurger Game Reviews here, and I'm your host, Tony. I'll be continuing with my Tomb Raider franchise review here of the original Tomb Raider series here, episode 261, part 4 of 6 parts. And we're back with some more Lara Croft action made by Eidos Interactive and Core Design Limited for the PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and more and more and more. Before we get started here, I want to give a shout out to Freaking HD and Sub-Zero M and Extra King Mac, along with the Hyper Lab near Frickle's Stateside, Megs, Black Healer, Griffin Puff, along with the Homie RJ, Alcagio, Rockstar Pool 69, The Sensational No Gent, Jessica Cody 22, Red Hood Assassin, and more and more and more, and V-Rock Games, and more and more and more. I also want to give a shout out to my buddy JJ Jaguar 89, who's a Tomb Raider fan. It's a friend I know in real life who recently just became a father to a baby girl, and him and his wife are doing really well. So a shout out to both of them. Hope you guys are doing well. And we got the 4th game here in the Tomb Raider franchise. This was supposed to be the final game in the Tomb Raider franchise, but we'll talk more about that another time here. Before we get started here with episode 261 part 4 of 6, those of you missed what happened in episode 261 part 3 of 6, Here is a Tomb Raider Lara Croft style TTBurger recap show which you missed in part 3 as I took a look at Tomb Raider 3 Adventures of Lara Croft and gave it a 9 out of 10 because it was a fantastic game. It was deeper, more improved, but there were some problems I had with it, like the lighting in the environments and the levels being very dark and everything like that. And the game was just very hard for no reason whatsoever. But it's still a fantastic game, and it's definitely got the best story and stuff of Tomb Raider so far, Tomb Raider franchise so far. So definitely pick it up. It's worth owning. But now we're gonna zoom ahead to November 22nd, 1999, back when the year 2000, the new millennium was on its way, and we were still in the 90s here, kicking some ass here and stuff, and the PlayStation, the Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, PC, and all of them were still here. And we got the next game in the Tomb Raider franchise here. It's the 4th one. We got Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation by Eidos Interactive and Core Design Limited, released on November 22nd, 1999 for the PlayStation and Windows. Then released on March 27th, 2000 for the Sega Dreamcast, and then June 12th, 2000 for the Mac Operation System. We got the PlayStation version. It's the only version I have. Now, Tomb Raider: Last Revelation, I was excited. I was happy for because the word last meant, oh boy, this is going to be awesome. Lara's best adventure yet. We go to Egypt, see the Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, the Land of Sands, lots of sand. Hell, we even play a small part in the beginning in Cambodia in 1984 when Lara was a 16-year-old teenage girl under the supervision of her mentor, Werner von Croy, who becomes a key character to the franchise. And what are my thoughts on Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation? Well, it is a good game, but not as good as the other 3 games. There are design issues and new issues that were not there, and problems that make this game not as good as the other Tomb Raider games. It is not a bad game, but it is a flawed game that will still get you a decent score, but not a super high score though. I'm just letting y'all know right now. First problem you notice here, there is no Lara's Home Croft Manor option. The training level is the main story mode, and I find the training level to be interesting because it shows the origin of Lara Croft when she was a teenage girl in 1984 at the age of 16. And it shows how she got her backpack and everything. It's a nice little origin prequel, and I do not mind this. But think of the veteran fans of the series who played other Tomb Raider games and already know how to play the game and such. For newcomers, I can understand, but even newcomers are probably just going to start with the original Tomb Raider games stuff when it comes to Tomb Raider and Lara Croft. And also, this is the first Tomb Raider game where you do not have a level select option, so once you beat a level or so, you cannot go back. And you cannot skip this tutorial. It is mandatory, but it does follow the story a little bit, but it would have been nice if you had the option just like, say, oh, origin tutorial or main game, because it was nice if they had that, but they don't. And this also leads to another problem. where you do not get an option to save after you beat a level, and when you die, you do not save at all, you go all the way back to the beginning of the game, which blows big time. It makes any gamer scream in frustration, just want to rage quit and stuff like that. So be sure you save. You will have to do a lot of saving. There are other problems with this game, but we'll talk about that later. I rambled on all long enough, so let's continue. I will say that I have not played the other versions, so I have no thoughts on them, although I do know the Sega Dreamcast version has exclusive content, not in the other versions, but that's all I know, so forgive me there. But now we need to get into the nitty gritty. Our story of Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation starts off in Angkor Wat, Cambodia in 1984, where, like I mentioned before, Lara Croft is a teenage girl at the age of 16 being trained under her mentor, Werner von Croy. She is seen learning her skills and learning how to jump and climb and crouch and sprint, and also obtaining her trademark backpack in these ruins with skeletons and traps and more, well, temple I mean to say. And Lara Croft completes her training, and then crazy shit happens. Lara and Werner von Croy complete her training by racing to get to this iris gem from the Temple of the Iris itself. When Werner beats Lara, gets the iris, and suddenly Werner gets trapped upside down in this mechanism foot trap, and Lara tries to free him but is forced to flee when the temple collapses from an earthquake, believing Werner is presumed dead. Then we go to present day, 1999, in Egypt. Lara Croft uncovers a tomb where an ancient Egyptian god called Set was imprisoned many years ago. While exploring the tomb, Lara accidentally unleashes him and now is trying to cause an apocalypse across the globe. And to make matters worse, her mentor Werner von Croy is alive and became possessed by Set, and is now Lara's rival. She's to stop Set and free Werner from being possessed. But in order to defeat Set, Lara needs to find the pieces of the armor of Horus, who was a god and who was a nephew of Set, who died many years ago trying to defeat him. She will also need to find the amulet of Horus to defeat Set. It is a deep story. It definitely has a Tomb Raider feel to it, especially because the whole game, not counting the tutorial level, is set in Egypt. There are a lot of tombs and ruins and more, and it fits perfectly. Although it's maybe a turn off to people who like going to different locations in the other games and stuff, but that is certain people, not me. I thought it worked fine here. And Lara has more character development, and the story is deeper and more intriguing. What more could you ask for? I mean, we see Lara's origins as a teenager, getting her backpack, and more. A nice setup indeed. The presentation of Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation, the graphics are a step up from Tomb Raider 3 Adventures of Lara Croft. The character models have so much detail in them. You can find facial animations, and their mouths move as well, and they animate very recently at the time. This was also a cutting edge for a PlayStation game because very few games had this in the graphics part where it showed the mouse moving in-game and stuff like that. The pre-rendered cutscenes are fantastic, although the frame rate is a little slower. They are longer and bigger and full of dialogue and content, making you feel like you're watching a movie. We have come a long way since Tomb Raider in 1996, and in 1999 they were a big step up. The frame rate is smooth along with the character animations and more. The environments are awesome. Definitely feel like Tomb Raider since you are in Egypt exploring these ancient tombs, just like the name Tomb Raider in it, and very sandy, lots of sand. And if you like sand levels in video games, this has your name all over it. The only problem, once again, is the lighting. It is still way too dark. You'll need flares big time because I swear a lot of the game's environments in this are super dark. You cannot see anything. The best part of Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation has got to be its sound department. The music has a Tomb Raider feel to it, a little darker in tone, but I love it. But once again, it ends very quickly, so yeah. But the best part is the voice acting. It is amazing and top notch. Judith Gibbons does not return to voice Lara Croft in this game. This time, Lara Croft was voiced by Jonelle Elliott, who would voice Lara in the next two entries after this game. My thoughts on her voicing Lara: I like her voice for her. She is, in my opinion, the best voice actress for Lara Croft, and just something I like about her voice. The other actors do a fantastic job for the voices for the characters, including Carrie Shield, who voices Werner von Croy. Without him, there would be no Werner von Croy, in my opinion, but that's just me. But if you want to talk about the meat of the review, here we gotta get into the gameplay. And the gameplay, while it is enjoyable and plays like Tomb Raider and has Tomb Raider fun factor to it, definitely, this is where it feels like the Tomb Raider stuff, like with platforming elements and gunplay and puzzle solving. There is a variety of gunplay elements and puzzle solving and piloting vehicles and stuff like that. But this has some problems here, and like it's just it has some problems and stuff and everything, which we'll get to later. But these are some big problems that do affect the score. It's still a decent, good game, but believe me, it's gonna get some points taken off for this. These puzzles here, you have puzzles here that do offer a challenge, and believe me, they're some of the hardest puzzles ever in a video game, let alone a Tomb Raider game. And believe me, you'll need to look at a walkthrough if you don't have the guidebook or anything to help you, because you will get stumped. Very stumped. Lara has an arsenal of weapons pretty much like last time, but some of the weapons are not here, like the rocket launcher and MP4, MP5 to that, but there's still a big majority of weapons here for you to mess around with. Lara can once again sprint and crouch, and she can also hang on ropes and swing on ropes. They can come handy, especially with all those traps you have. You have a big variety in enemies like tigers and alligators and more, along with human enemies and stuff. The levels are big and huge, give you time for exploration to look for treasures and hidden items. There are improvements here and changes the gameplay. First, Lara can pick up items quicker, and the menu system is a little different, and I have no opinion on the menu system. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but yeah. The controls are smoother, which can help with those jumps and platform elements and stuff, and they're the same type of controls as it was in Tomb Raider 3 Adventures of Lara Croft. And there's one thing that they improved on here is the save feature. The save system, you can save whenever you want with no save crystals, and I'm glad they took that away because those are annoying, believe me. And Tomb Raider The Last Revelation is a good game, but compared to the first 3 Tomb Raider games, Tomb Raider The Last Revelation falls somewhat flat, and I'll tell you why right now in the negatives here. First off, like I mentioned, there's no Lara's home option. The training, while it adds to the story, I didn't have a problem with it. It cannot be skipped, especially for gamers who have been fans of the series from the beginning and know the controls by heart, and it makes you wish there was an option to skip it at times. And basically, the tutorial is just you listening to Werner von Croy tell you what to do, while as the story on how she finds a backpack and what happens at the end of Werner, it's just, they could have shortened this here, and this tutorial level is very long and stuff, definitely. And if you don't save, and you die at all, you're going back to the beginning of the level. There's no level select option, even if you beat the game. And I had to wonder why they do this. So if you want to go visit a level and stuff, you'll have to make a save game. You have to save your game and go back there with a save file. But then again, you have all those files on your memory cards and they take up a lot of room. And take up at least 2 to 10 blocks to save a game, which is overdoing it there, definitely. Especially because after you beat the level, there's no save feature to even choose a level. There are a lot of cheap deaths in this game, more than last time because of all the traps and everything. It doesn't help that there are a lot of dead ends and traps that make you get lost or die very quickly. The difficulty is very high, and I sucked at the game once again. Yeah, I know. And I had these cheat codes help me beat the game, and believe me, some of them had to help me because I was awful at it. There are some forgettable characters in the game. People may be disappointed and turned off by the fact that you are in Egypt throughout the whole game. And while I think Jonelle Elliott is the best voice actress for Lara Croft, she voices her as a teen and an adult, whereas she changed the voice as teenager Lara in the beginning. Some weapons are missing, such as the rocket launcher and the MP5. The controls, while smoother, still feel a little stiff at times, and the dark lighting in the environments once again is kind of a pain in the neck. But that's all the complaints I have for it though. Final thoughts here, that's pretty much what I say here, all I gotta say about Tomb Raider Last Revelation. It's still a good game, but compared to the other 3 Tomb Raider games, they were better than this. And I know a lot of people say, oh, the first one hasn't aged all that well. How can you say that one's better? Because because the way it played and everything like that, it gave you a level select option. Lara's home do trains and that, and just didn't have all these cheap deaths or anything like that and everything. I'm sure it's some, but not this many. So that's my final thoughts about Tomb Raider Last Revelation. If you like it, pick it up because it has a lot of Lara Croft action to it, and if you want to expand the story and everything. But believe me, it's still, you're not going to get a high score because of this. I can only give Tomb Raider Last Revelation a 7.5 out of 10 because of the issues I have with it. I mean, it's not a bad game, but it could have been a better game and stuff. And yeah. And I will say this here, that this was supposed to be the last Tomb Raider game, because I'm going to do a spoiler for the ending here. The spoiler here ending is that like the temple collapses and Werner, who's free from being cursed and stuff like that, from Seth and stuff, and and Werner and Lara are on the same side again. He tries to save her, but the temple collapses and Lara is presumed dead. And Eidos Interactive and Core Design were supposed to end the series like that, but because of people wanting Tomb Raider and stuff that being pressured, they were forced to make more Tomb Raider games here and stuff. And this is where we lead to the next part here of another Tomb Raider game on the PlayStation. Back in like late 2000, the PlayStation 2 was already out. We're going to be looking at Tomb Raider Chronicles. This game was released on the PlayStation and the Sega Dreamcast and the PC and stuff. But how does this game fare? We got another game that plays like The Last Revelation, stuff like that, but we're in different environments here and stuff. But how does it play? Is it better or worse? Well, you have to find out in the next part, which all I gotta say. This is Tony, peacing out, have your day, and more Lara Croft action continues in part 5, we'll take a look at Tomb Raider Chronicles for the PlayStation. Take care everybody, you all have a great day, and peace out.